And joining us now is Jamie Smith. She's the Deputy Press Secretary for the White House. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Jamie.
Great to have you on. Thanks. How are you all?
Great, thank you. Now, we're a little confused, though. Now, we've known this sequester thing obviously has been going on since January 1st at the very least, because that's when it was delayed until March 1st. And we know that the president is looking for a balanced approach.
That's right.
We get that. And the House now says they have put through two different bills, and they're just sitting there on Harry Reid's desk. Harry Reid hasn't done a darn thing in the Senate from what we're looking at. And the mix-up seems to be right now that the House has said, okay, we'll go ahead and cut all those loopholes that you want, Mr. President, you were talking about in Virginia, but only if it's combined with some rate reductions as well. So it's not just about taxes in terms of closing these gaps. What has the president done to try to meet the House halfway in terms of reducing rates to match the loophole cuts?
Well, I'm glad to be on your show. I appreciate the question. I think, look, it's very important to understand that the president has put forward a balanced plan to not only avoid the harmful effects of the sequester, but also to reduce the deficit by more than $4 trillion. That includes twice as many spending cuts as it does tax revenue from the wealthy. And, look, I think that the choice is very clear here, that the Republicans need to come together with the Democrats and work out a balanced plan that replaces the sequester and eliminates tax loopholes for millionaires and billionaires.
Okay, well, but again, the question is, what has the president done to meet the House halfway? We know the Senate's not doing anything, so let's just leave them out of it. What has the president done to actually meet them halfway? I mean, I don't even know who's acting on behalf of the president. Is the chief of staff up there at the House? Is it the Office of Legislative Affairs? Who's actually the point person for the White House?
The White House and the president are engaged regularly with Capitol Hill on this. And look, again, the president has put forward a plan, a very balanced plan. And in order to make this happen and relieve the stress from so many people in the middle class, we have to come together to create this balanced plan. And the only way to do that is to eliminate these tax loopholes. I mean, John Boehner himself said that by doing that, we could raise over $800 billion can be saved that way. And, you know, I know that the Republicans are saying that their plan has passed twice. It is not clear to me that anything could actually pass now in the Congress. And the reality is that these effects are these harmful automatic cuts are going into effect in 2 days. And in order to avoid that, we need to come together and we need to create this balanced plan.
Jamie, I want to get you a chance to say your piece, but we have so many questions. And here's my question. Why is the Obama administration now releasing tens of thousands of dangerous illegal immigrants onto the streets under the name of sequestration?
Look, I would refer you on that question to the Immigration and Customs Services, but they have also said that these are non-criminals and other low-risk offenders who not have serious criminal history.
And I have heard that, but then I noticed that well-known right-wing organ, the New York Times, tracked one of them down. Turns out the guy was released. He had a history of child abuse. He had a history of assault and battery. He violated probation. And this is one of the people that your administration has put back out on the street.
Look, I can't speak to that specific example, and I've seen the report. But again, what I can say is that the Immigration and Customs Enforcement arm of the Department of Homeland Security takes our national security very seriously, and that these are non-criminals and other low-risk offenders who don't have serious criminal histories.
Well, but would you agree that child abuse charges and assault and battery convictions are serious?
Again, I can't speak to that specific case. I'm not aware of that specific case that the New York Times is highlighting.
But it would seem to be at variance from your statement that these are people who don't have criminal backgrounds.
Again, I can't speak to that specific case. I don't know the facts of it.
All right,
but what I can say is that I know the Department of Homeland Security is their number one priority is keeping people safe.
All right.
Go ahead.
Maybe you can clear up some confusion, Jamie. You're talking about the harmful, detrimental sequestration cuts that are about to take place. We're hearing reports that, frankly, it really is just a reduction in the growth of spending. It's not a legitimate actual cut like a normal person in their home budget thinks of as a cut. And it really just takes us back to the spending that we had about 18 months ago. So how is it that dire? I mean, things weren't falling apart 18 months ago, right?
Well, look, I think actually the reality is that this sequester will have lasting impacts on our economy. And we hear from business leaders, small, medium, and large, all of the time, who are telling us that they are so eager for certainty in the economy. And this is a real self-inflicted wound. This was never meant to be policy, as you know. This was designed to be so bad that no one would ever allow it to happen. And these cuts while the full damage of these cuts will spread to nearly every corner of our economy over the next few months, some middle-class families will receive layoffs and furlough notices within days, especially here in the D.C.
No, we know that. We hear from a lot of them every day.
A lot of them call in here every day. So I guess the question I have is, many people look at this and they say, maybe this is a little bit more gamesmanship than reality. It's a sort of a manufactured crisis to make the political points that you want to make regarding spending in the future.
I would respectfully disagree with that. I mean, again, this policy was designed and signed in by Congress to be
wasn't it indeed the president's idea, though?
I appreciate that's something that's being pushed around. Look, at the end of the day, this was a policy that was overwhelmingly voted for in Congress by Republicans and Democrats. In fact, John Boehner, when the vote happened, said he got 98% of what he wanted. Now, again, I don't think the American people are all that interested in who's to blame here.
No, I don't
At the end of the
either.
day, this is a policy that was never supposed to go into effect because it was supposed to be so bad that it would force Congress to act and come up with a balanced plan. And again, the president has put forward a balanced plan and is eager to work with Congress to create that. And the only thing standing in the way of that is their inability and unwillingness to close tax loopholes for the wealthiest among us.
Speaking of ideas that are really bad that should be avoided, I'm guessing the president doesn't like the appearance that he's selling access to himself for $500,000 donations to Organizing for Action. Why is he cooperating with that group in such a craven way?
Look, I would refer you to OFA, but all I can say
wait. OFA is an offshoot of the Obama campaign. I mean, you guys can certainly speak to OFA. You guys work with OFA all the time on stuff. How can you not have an answer on this?
I'm not saying I don't have an answer. What I'm saying is that I would refer you to OFA on that particular story, but what I can say is what Jay said at the podium, which is that the president is not selling access, and that's just not accurate.
Well, what do you call it? If you donate $500,000, no matter who you are, I mean, you could be the worst possible person in the world. You could be Donald Trump, and you get a meeting with the president because you donated $500,000 to Organizing for Action.
We're saying that's not accurate.
It's not accurate. Oh, well, then clear it up for us.
Well, what Jay did at the podium, he said that's not accurate.
No, he sort of walked away as the questions kept going, and he said, talk to OFA.
It was not, respectfully, again, my sense of his answer was that was not accurate.
Can you just quickly clear it up then? I mean, you're saying
it's not accurate. We're not selling. Nobody is selling.
So if you donate $500,000 to Organizing for Action, you do not get to meet with the president,
despite what they say on their website.
Even though that's what it says
right.
That's correct.
Okay, good to know.
Well,
we will follow up on this. Jamie Smith, Deputy White House Secretary, really enjoyed having you this morning and hope to have you back.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Jamie.
All right, thanks.
All right,